Everybody is present and correct, so you can commence the meeting.
Thanks very much, Andy. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence. I don't think we have any. I think we're all present and correct. Although I haven't seen John Azar. Is John on?
He is.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, John. Welcome. Item 2, are there any pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests? No, thank you. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of March. Do we agree those as a correct record?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yes,
agreed.
Yes.
Thanks very much. That's item 4. There are 2 items on the procurement report: the apprenticeship levy, training and assessment providers, and the providers for break time, daytime and nighttime care for children and young people with special education needs. Do we agree those?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you very much. That's item 5, Adelaide Street, Olive Boys School, Loading Bay. Keith.
Okay, thank you, Leader. It's very straightforward, this. It's a Loading Bay, and obviously we've consulted on the matter. It'll be at the front of the school on Adelaide Street, Olive Boys School. Other businesses will be able to use it. I have no issues with it, and the recommendation is for the Cabinet to approve the introduction of the traffic regulation order to install it. So I've no more to say on that.
You agree with that? Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, great.
Item 6, introduction of Bus Clearway, Liverpool Road, Pemberton. That's you again, Keith.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I've nothing much more to say on this. Obviously, there's been a lot of work going on through Pemberton, and this is part of the scheme that was approved, and it's for the introduction of a bus stop clearway on Liverpool Road. Again, I've no issues with it. The report's there and the recommendation, and I'm happy to propose that to go forward.
Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Item 7, Highways Capital Programme. Keith.
Yeah, item 7, I'm really pleased to bring this to you. Obviously, this is the Highways Capital proposed additional schemes. I'd like to thank the Cabinet member for resources for giving us this extra money. It has made a big difference. And I've had a lot of councillors that have come to me over the last few days, since the report's been out, to say they're really pleased with this, and a big well done to all concerned. I've nothing more to say on it. I hope you'll approve it. There's a lot of good schemes in there, and we're moving things forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Azra.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Before I sort of say something on this item, can I just sort of, I know it's your official last Cabinet meeting, and it's also Albert's last meeting as well. I don't know if anyone else is stepping down, but just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you, even if it's been a few ding-dongs here and there. And you guys will be missed, I'm sure. I'm sure other colleagues will agree. In turning to this report, obviously any investment in roads is welcome, but I have to say, disappointed is not a word I'd use. I'm absolutely disappointed, and whatever you want to call it, that the money hasn't gone in to those areas where the streets, where the sets or cobbles have come through. The potholes are absolutely abysmal, and it's more like a third world country rather than parts of Lancashire. And I only would have to ask Keith if, even though we're in an election period, he can come out with me to parts of my division, and, you'd have to drive. You can't drive in a straight line because you're going round potholes, into potholes, and it's a complete mess. And some of the patchwork, some of the potholes that have been filled have been poor. I have reported them to Phil Donnell, and I've had responses back to say, yeah, those aren't satisfactory repairs. And what worries me is that a significant amount of money is going into filling potholes, Keith. But when the potholes aren't filled in properly, it means that more resources have to be taken up to go back, take them up and fill them in again, which could have been put into repairing other things. So could he please look at the quality of potholes that are being filled, but also revisit those areas where, parts of East Lancashire where you've got streets where half the streets now, the sets have come through and half the streets tarmac. And, week by week, month by month, it's getting worse. If you could look at that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks, Azar, and thank you for your kind words. Keith.
Yeah, I do appreciate what you said, and I've been out to look at these, obviously, and we've talked about this for a couple of years now. When you get cobbles and you get a strip of tarmac coming on it off it, it doesn't adhere well to the cobbles when you repair it. I do understand that, but obviously they don't meet the intervention level, and unfortunately that's how we do it. But I will take a special look at it. Obviously, I'm sure that when I'm returned back, I will take a special interest in the concerns of the streets, and I will come out with you, Azar, and I do appreciate what you said. Going back to the High West Capital Programme, we strictly follow the TAMP, and we have to do that, and we are noted for an authority that does follow it correctly. We do the job right, and we are rewarded by different grants and schemes because Lancashire do the job right, and I think you'll appreciate that as well. We can't just pick and match and do things, but I do think, and I do understand, and it's not always in your part of the world that this happens. There are other parts of Lancashire we do have cobble streets, but I do appreciate, coming from some of the mill towns around there, it's how they did it, and we will look at it. Getting back to the repairs weren't right. It's been difficult over the last few months to repair anything with the weather. The weather is getting better now. I do appreciate that sometimes all we could do to keep the road safe was to go out and to put some tarmac into an existing hole. I do appreciate that we have to come back and do it again, but sometimes that's the only way we can do it with the weather conditions, with the way things are. But we will look at it and we will take your views on board. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I associate myself with the comments about yourself, Councillor Driver, and Councillor Atkinson? You will both be missed as members of the Cabinet. Obviously, Jeff, with you as leader, but Albert as well was deputy leader for a number of years, and subsequently cabinet member. You will be missed in terms of what you've actually done for the people of Lancashire. So thank you very much for a very long service, and I wish you well for the future. Getting back to the report, if I may, can I thank Councillor Ridden and his Highways team of officers for the excellent work that's in this report, and that's testament to what we've achieved over the last 4 years in making the funds available through careful management of the council's resources. By making the funds available, we've been able to put extra money into highway schemes and make a real difference. Some of the roads have gone in a poor condition, principally due to the inclement weather that we've encountered over recent months. But it's nice to see a number of schemes going forward, including some in my own division, which I've been raising frequently with officers. So thank you very much to those officers for addressing these. And as soon as they've got to the top of the list, they're able to carry out the work on those. So thanks, Councillor Ridden. Keep up the good work, and look forward to the next 4 years of highways improvements under a Conservative administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I think John wants to agree with you all that. John.
Yeah, I keep on hearing excuses about the weather. We always have winter. It's part of the seasonal thing that happens in this country. And it's happened for years and years, and you treat it as though it's something new. And even this winter, it hasn't been that bad. It's been the poor splash and dash attitude of this Conservative administration. Where's the pride? Where's this, like, the support of the local community? All you're interested in is figures. You haven't got a clue about how this system works properly. And it really is sad that year after year, we hear about it's been raining, it's been cold, it's inclement. Give it up, honestly. You really need to get a grip of this, because weather is weather, no matter whether you like it or not. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Before I bring Keith in, I think it's fair to say that the references to the bad weather was in connection with having to do temporary repairs, because that's all you can do when the weather is bad during the winter. And of course we get weather the winter every year. But can I just say, in terms of only being concerned with numbers, I think it's important to say that this Conservative administration will have spent £318 million on highways, repairs, etc., which is half as much again as the previous Labour administration spent. Before I bring you in, Keith, I think John is that a hand you want to come back, John, or is it a residual?
I think did I take my hand down?
No, your hand's still there.
Oh, hang on. There you go. That's it. Done.
Yeah, thanks very much, Keith.
I suppose you've taken the wind down to myself a little bit, Leader, but there we go. It's not an excuse, John. We don't use it as an excuse. Over the 4 years you were there, we have looked at weather conditions, and the weather was quite good over the winter periods. And obviously that's why you probably got away with not spending a lot on the roads. When we took over, it was one of the worst winters we'd had in a 5-year period, and we had to get on with the job, and a lot of roads disintegrated. Coming back to this winter, it's been noted by a lot of meteorological people, but this is one of the worst winters we've had in a long, long time. And we had a lot of rain and a lot of snow. Our gritting teams were out 24 hours a day because it kept raining and it kept freezing. And we do, like the leader has said, these are repairs to roads that, you know, the potholes don't last long in these conditions. We get water going into the cracks, and then we get the frost. And you know well that this is what's happened. If we hadn't had the finance in order and the money to spend on it, we'd be in a lot worse position than we are now, I can tell you that. But the team does an excellent job. Our figures are good. We're on top of it, even though with all the obstacles we've had in our way over this last year. The highway teams have done an excellent job, and I'd just like to put it on record. I thank them for the work they've done over a very, very difficult winter. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. And I think it's also important to note that because we got the finances of the County Council in good order, we were able to add another £10 million to the budget for next year. Okay, colleagues, I don't see any other one wanting to speak. Do we agree the report?
Yes,
Agreed.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 8, Institute Street Padium. You again, Keith.
Thank you, Leader. Institute Street Padium, yes, Highway Improvement Scheme, Burnley Road, relocation of a bus stop. Again, it makes sense to do this. It's been consulted on, and we've had a look at it. There's a nice drawing there for you to show where it is. I have no issues with this. And the recommendation is to approve the construction of a new permanent bus stop replacing the existing bus stop on Burnley Road, Padium.
Makes a lot of sense. Do we agree that?
Agreed.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Item
very
9,
much, Leader.
Capital Strategy for Schools. Philippa.
Thanks, Leader. Yeah, each year we are provided with funding by the Department for Education to deal with repairs to our voluntary controlled community and maintained schools across the county. There's been a delay in the announcement of the amount of grant for this year, but based on previous years, we've received around £10 million. So the programme in this paper is based on that level of funding, but obviously if that changes, then we will have to adjust the programme accordingly. To prioritise the allocation of funding fairly, we've cross-referenced the building condition information we have from the surveys that we're taking throughout the year to the Department of Education's own priority and their priority 1 repairs. So that's urgent work that will prevent immediate closure of premises and or address an immediate high risk to the health and safety of the occupants and or remedy a serious breach of legislation. So these are important repairs that need to be done. And based on that analysis, the proposed schools and the repairs are listed in Appendix A of the report. Because of the complexity of the work, there is a risk that further priority work might emerge. So there is some contingency in the funding recommended. And obviously, because it's a finite budget, we can't do everything, and we've had to prioritise very carefully. So we will continue that prioritisation process whilst this work is going on, so that we're ready for any future funding and condition-led programmes. Where we can, we will do the work in the school holidays to avoid any disruption to school time. And it's expected that if this is approved, then round about half the work will be done in this upcoming summer holidays and the remainder in the following year. So it looks a comprehensive and very well researched programme of work to me. And so the recommendation is that you're asked to approve this much needed investment and specifically the proposed list of maintained schemes that are in Appendix A, total 9.85 million as a further phase of high priority school repairs. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Philippa. That's a good programme. Do we agree it?
Yes,
Agreed.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank you.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Item 10, Community Safety Agreement. Peter.
Thank you. And can I associate myself with the thanks and gratitude to yourself and Councillor Atkinson for the many years of service and work you've put into the council. It's very much appreciated. This agenda item, this is a refresh of the Lancashire Community Safety Agreement. It was actually scheduled to come before Cabinet last year, but was delayed because of COVID response work. It reflects the issues and threats from crime and antisocial behaviour and sets out how local authorities will work together. The document, as some of you will know, has been through external scrutiny, but governance requires this to be agreed at Cabinet prior to approval at full council. Whilst the agreement is dated 2019 to 2022, this is very much an active document, and work has already begun on the 22 to 25 agreement to try and streamline the process and address specific community safety issues arising from the pandemic. Just want to bring your attention to the middle of page 74, and just for clarification, the October 2021 date halfway down, that refers to the assessment stage of the process. The actual agreement, the next community safety agreement, will be developed during 2022. Finally, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all the officers who work tirelessly in helping vulnerable people in our communities. They always do a fantastic job, and even more so this past year. Thank you, Leader.
Thanks, Peter. I echo those thanks. Do we agree to make this recommendation to full council?
Yes, we do.
Yes, agreed. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 11 are the urgent decisions that have been taken between the cabinets and the cabinet meetings, and there are two to add to that list where urgent decisions have been made since the cabinet agenda was published. The first one is the M55 Link Road, and the second one is our County Council's response to the consultation on the subsidy control, designing the new approach following Brexit. Do we accept those?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we do.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 12 is urgent business. We're hoping to complete a report in time to come to the cabinet. There is an urgent item, but we're not in a position, or the office is not in a position to make the formal recommendation. But I think it is important to point it out to members exactly what is happening. So I'll call on Stephen Young to explain it to us. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, the report in question, which will be available for approval this afternoon under urgency, is to do with the UK Community Renewal Fund, which was something that the Chancellor announced in the last budget. In short, the UK Community Renewal Fund is a mopping up process for the EU structural funds that we benefited from as being part of the European Union. And obviously, since we've left the European Union, the government needed to decide how they would deal with these funds. The final guidance that came following the Chancellor's announcement landed with the County Council last week, and it puts within it quite a tight timescale by which we've got to make bids into this particular fund, and it also places a requirement on the County Council to act as the accountable body. So clearly we need a very urgent decision to say that we're prepared to act as an accountable body. A report has been prepared and it's being considered by legal and finance at the moment to make sure that there's no undue risks on the County Council, but clearly if we can't get an urgent decision that we will act as the accountable body, we put at risk £9 million of funding for Lancashire.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. And I think it was important to just let us know that. And obviously, once it's gone through legal and finance, we can make a decision under the urgent procedure. Azar.
Yeah, no, thanks for the report, Stephen. And I think it is important that it goes through the hoops that it's going through at the moment, and that we are an accountable body to move forward and benefit from those funds. But I was just going to ask Jeff whether that report, once it's done, will be shared with ourselves, just so that we're aware of that.
Yes, absolutely.
And the criteria of what sort of funding we could bid for.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see Stephen's noted that. We'll make sure it's circulated, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. The date of the next meeting is the 10th of June at 2 o'clock. That may or may not be in the County Hall. We shall have to wait and see. Under 14, we've given notice of our intention to conduct business in private, and no representations have been made. So under item 15, I move exclusion of the press and the public. Is that agreed?